Coming to you live from Indianapolis, Indiana. Just wanted to update you guys. I just got off the phone with the Department of Health concerning mom falling out of bed 2 times at her nursing home while she's on hospice. I'd like to play the call, and hopefully, it's it's kind of a lengthy one, but I have to assure you that it's a very interesting one, and I think it exposes the weakness that is in our government as far as patient care and how they regulate patient care, so on and so forth. And so, with that said, I think it also applies a lot to why we don't want Medicare for all and why we don't want the government top down uh, managing patient health care and telling us, what doctors we can see or whatever, and making up all these salacious rules. So anyway, with that said, without further ado, let me play the call I just had with the Department of Health. So give me just a moment. And hopefully
Hello?
we can.
Hello, this is the State Department of Health. I'm returning your call.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Hi.
Hi. I had an issue. I don't think it's the Rose Walk where my mom is staying. I think it has more to do with the hospice, or maybe even, I don't know if it's state law, but they don't have bed rails on her bed, and she's fallen out of bed twice.
Is the facility, do they allow bed rails? Have you talked to them?
Do they allow bed rails?
They haven't really been specific with me. They said there's a lot of red tape, but I did talk to, I guess, a nurse's aide there, and she said that she believes that with nursing homes, there's some type of law that prevents them from having bed rails because of...
That's not true.
Really? Because they have bed rails at hospitals.
Something like that, or...
That's not true.
Okay.
So we have regulations, and the regulation about bed rails is that a facility can have bed rails on a patient's bed as long as they have been evaluated, and a doctor will order it.
Oh.
So in other words, they have to be evaluated that the bed rails are not going to be detrimental to them or unsafe for them to have. A lot of the time with patients that are confused, the bed rails are not used because patients sometimes don't realize that they're not supposed to climb around them or through them or whatever, and they end up getting hurt by them.
Yeah.
So as long as a facility is a facility that will allow bed rails, and some do not. That's why you have to talk to them.
Okay.
You need to talk to the administrator or the DON and ask them if they allow bed rails. And if they do, then you need to ask for them to do an evaluation of your mom. Is it your mom?
Remember, I need to do all this.
Okay. Have them do an evaluation of your mom to see if she would benefit from the bed rails and not be hurt by them.
This is all the things I have to do.
And then once that's done, you have to get a doctor's order for them to be used because they are a form of restraint.
Well, I realize that. The interesting thing is that she could have done hospice at home, and we have a bed at home that has bed rails that was ordered by a doctor. So now it's just a matter of having to go through a whole process again. But my main concern is that she's fallen on her face 2 times, and it's just.
What else are they doing to keep her safe? Are they putting pads on the floor or making sure the bed's lowered all the way down?
Sure. Now they have put a mattress on the floor.
Okay.
It's just. But,
well,
she's a pretty heavy-set woman, and she's on hospice, and, it's just unacceptable.
That's not really good care, putting mattresses on floors.
The bureaucracy or whatever, the chain of command that has to be, but it's just practical. It's just common sense, really. Honestly, if somebody falls out of bed, you know what I mean? She's never fallen out of bed at home, not once. And now that she's there, she's fallen out of bed twice. And one time was bad enough, but then for some reason 2.5 weeks later she's still falling out of bed, and so I think it's
the thing to do is to talk to the facility and make sure that they're evaluating her to make sure that they're doing everything they can to keep her safe.
So I have to make sure that they're doing their job.
Is she confused?
Well, she has been, but not prior to that. Not prior to the first time. The thing is that she, they told me, they said, well, it's not our bed, it's the hospice's bed. So the hospice has to take care of it. So, it's just.
Has to take care of the rails?
Yeah, so it's just one thing after another. I mean, it's like, can we not just have, like, one middle-level manager make an executive decision to put bed rails on her bed? Because, I mean, this is a person, she could die, literally. She's on hospice already. But if she falls and gets, she fell on her face. I mean, really, come on. I mean, that's unacceptable. And I understand process and procedure, and there are times where, that is expedient and it has to be done that way. This is nonsense, really. And I don't know.
Hospice a bit?
Yes, I did.
And what did they say about the bed?
We'll go talk to somebody else.
I talked to one of the representatives who is not, I'm going to go and talk to hospice. So I just now got the name of the hospice people.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead, but I guess the other issue that I have, and maybe this is just a complaint or whatever with the way things are, but the other issue I have is I don't have time to be doing all this. This is somebody else's job.
My rent's not even. I can't even pay my rent.
Director, case manager, hospice. These people need to get this stuff done in a manner to where my mom is not going to fall out of bed again. And it's been now 2.5 weeks since the first time she fell out of bed. So I don't know how much longer do I have to wait for her not to be in a safe place.
Well, unfortunately,
they've taken her whole SSI as well, because she could have done hospice at home, but now they have $1,700 of her SSI, and I just don't think they're doing a fair enough job.
No. You hear the silence. What you said?
And I realize
money
again, but this is a person. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I'm a person. I'm her family member.
Now she got quiet.
And then once they find out that I was there and I witnessed her falling out of bed, they're like, "Oh, well, you weren't supposed to spend the night." Well, why didn't you tell me that to begin with? The nurses told me I could spend the night.
They did.
And now all of a sudden they're like, "Oh, well, visiting hours are from 8 to 8, so you can only stay here till 8. And I'm like, really? Because that's fine if that's your policy, but how come that's not enforced on anybody else? The nurses are telling me that you don't enforce the visiting hours on anybody else, but now you're enforcing it on me because I witnessed my mom falling out of bed. I mean, I don't understand this. It's just, if you're in the hospitality business, I mean, if you're a nursing home, you need to be hospitable. Not only, you need to, this is patient care. This is basic patient care. But then when the family comes in and spends the last moments of a person's life with them, you don't need to be unhospitable and nasty, and I think that, again, maybe this is something I'll have to just go through the director and all. Yeah, fortunately, I do know the Jackson family who manage all the American senior properties. I don't get paid to do this, so I just don't have the time. You know what I mean?
What's she going to say?
Well, unfortunately, sir, you may have to make the time.
Unfortunately, that is gross negligence, I believe, because these people get paid very well to do what they're doing. And if they cannot manage to keep a person in bed who's on hospice, that's just unacceptable.
Well, the problem is you have two different entities that you're dealing with. So you're dealing with Rosewalk and you're dealing with the hospice.
No, excuse me. Why am I dealing with them? I'm not dealing with them. Rosewalk, she is in a bed in Rosewalk facility. So whoever is over her care is the one that needs to deal with her falling out of bed. She is not at my house.
Sir,
The woman seems to be coughing
I
a
would
lot.
really like to tell you that you don't have to have anything to do with your mother's care,
Oh,
but that is just not the case.
is that what I said? That I don't want anything to do with my mom's
Now,
care?
I'm there. I'm there every.
No,
Excuse me,
sir,
ma'am.
we are not an advocacy.
No, excuse, I know you're not. But excuse me, is there one that I can appeal to? Because I'm there every day, and now I have to go one step further and do other people's jobs for them. Do you get what I'm saying? I mean, if for
I
instance,
hear what you're saying, sir. Please
Oh,
stop.
can I call
Do you hear what I'm
Adult
saying?
Services to have her checked
Sure,
out?
you can call. I need you to listen to me for just a second, though. Okay? I know you're frustrated, and I know you're upset, and you're yelling, and
I'm not yelling.
and
My voice is a little loud, but I'm not yelling. Trust me.
Okay, but
It's all my fault.
I feel like you're just you're venting all of this to me, but you're not wanting to listen to what
I thought you were the
and tell
agency
you
to take care of
about it.
this.
But it's unacceptable.
And I just want to.
That the left hand. Excuse me.
That's
that
the way
left hand
things are.
doesn't know
That's
what the
what
right
she's getting
hand
ready
is
to say.
doing is totally unacceptable. So if that's the case,
but I can't
if that's
fix
just
that.
I
the way,
can't fix
If
that.
What
that's
I'm
just
trying
the
to do
way
is
things
educate
are,
you
man.
about.
The way things
If that's
are.
the way things are, then they need to change.
Exactly.
Because we're talking about patient care, and if there needs to be legislation or something like that to happen, to where even your agency will say, "Hey, this is unacceptable," then maybe that needs to happen.
Do you want to file a complaint against?
There you go.
Yeah, a complaint against the.
Okay. Well,
And I
that's
wanna
all I
file-
needed to know.
I want to file.
Where is
That's
Rose
all
Walk?
I need to
The
know.
hospice is.
Where's the Rose Walk?
It is on Lindsay Avenue, and it is
Leslie
Leslie.
Oh,
Yeah,
she knew where it was.
in Indianapolis.
She knew where it was.
Okay. What's your mom's name?
Jennifer Todd. And quite honestly, I know I'm not trying to insult you. I'm just trying to say I understand policy and procedure, but this bureaucratic
Well, but
nonsense.
I don't know how you can because you're not listening to me. All you're
Oh, well,
doing
you had more to
is
say
venting
about.
at me.
But you've explained it to
I'm
me.
trying to help you.
But what I'm trying to tell you, okay, from an objective point of view, what I'm trying to tell you is that
Now she's
is that
talking
this is
again.
unacceptable, and I don't care about the bureaucratic left hand doesn't know what the right hand's doing crap, because patients' lives and their care are at stake.
What's your mom's date of birth?
10/26/47.
And why is she in the facility?
She has cancer. She has stage 4 cancer.
Okay. How long has she been at Rose Walk?
She's been there. I would say
Roughly. Doesn't have
about a
to be
month.
exact.
Roughly about a month. She came over from Community East.
Okay. So what specifically is your issue with Rose Walk?
What were we talking about the whole
Is
time?
that she keeps falling on her face.
Okay. So what we would do is all we have are federal and state regulations to enforce.
Right.
So what we do is we go into the facility and we look at whether or not they're doing everything they can to keep her safe.
Okay.
Sounds good to me.
When was her last fall?
Maybe that will force them to get on the ball and
But it sounds like they're doing what they're supposed to be. They've got a pad on the floor. They've got her bed lowered to the floor, or the lowest to the floor.
Okay, this is the second time though. They didn't do that to begin with. They didn't do that after the
Right,
first
but they
time.
don't do that. They don't do that until they determine that someone is a fall risk. And
So they
until,
don't determine they're a fall
unfortunately,
risk after the first time. The first time doesn't make them a fall risk. How many times do they have to fall before they become a fall risk? They just put the mattress there.
Notice she's not
When
answering
her
my
mother's
question.
falling out of bed, would you consider this good? They're doing everything they possibly can.
when was her last fall?
2 days ago. They're not doing everything they possibly can
And
because
when
she doesn't have any bed rails, and she fell out the second time.
I've told you about the bed rail, sir,
Yeah.
and Rose Walk told you that you have, if the bed belongs to hospice, you have to talk to hospice about that.
Why do I have to talk to hospice? Why don't they talk to hospice since it's in their facility?
Because who hired hospice?
They did.
She has no
I don't. I'm
It's
not
always
into,
my
I'm
fault.
not hiring
It's always my
hospice.
fault.
I'm not my mom's power of attorney or anything else.
Okay. When was her first fall?
Probably about 3 weeks ago.
And did she have injuries from either fall?
I don't know. I don't know unless she's.
You said she fell on her face, right? Was that the first or second fall?
That was the second fall. The first fall, they didn't tell me on what part of her body she fell. I don't know because I'm not a doctor. I don't know if they're doing the care they need to evaluate whether she's hurt or not, because all they did was they came and did some vitals and then they put her back in bed. I don't know if she has broken bones or anything else.
Who's her POA?
What's a POA?
Power of attorney. Who's her power of
She has
attorney?
no power of attorney.
Well, who is responsible for her making decisions for her?
She is.
Okay, is she still able to do that?
Yeah.
Okay. You might want to consider looking at a POA, because if she gets to the point where she can't make decisions for herself, someone else is going to have to do that for her. And if nobody...
But again, it's her responsibility. It's my responsibility. Everybody else's responsibility.
They should be able to assist you with that.
I'll be more than happy. I'm there every day. I take care of my mom very well. And in fact, she used to live here, and I used to be her care provider here. So this is why I feel like it's totally unacceptable. She's never fallen out of bed at home. So, this is just ridiculous.
Okay. Any other issues with Rosewalk?
No.
Okay.
Well, there is one. I mean, when they did move her into another room, they didn't bring in any of her stuff with her either. And so she lost. My daughter bought her a blanket. My daughter's only 13. My daughter spent the money out of her own pocket to buy her grandmother a blanket. That blanket they couldn't find it. I had to write a grievance. It's been weeks now.
Did they reimburse you for it?
No. And so and not only that, but there was a Bible that was very special to me. There was a lot of other things there. They haven't reimbursed me. It's just one thing after another over there. Negligence.
Okay.
And it's always somebody. It's always my responsibility.
That's
not negligence.
Yes, it is. When you move somebody from one room to the next, and you don't transport.
God, will you please stop yelling at me?
Then stop interrupting me. Because here's the thing. When you move...
I'm going to submit your complaint for Rosewalk. You take care, sir.
Goodbye. So anyway, guys, you see how that call ended. With all due respect and, to be gracious, she's doing her job the best she can, because, obviously, when she says that it's not negligent, that when a patient loses all their belongings and gifts that people give them, that's not negligent when they're in that place, when they're in that facility. Now, maybe under the letter of the law, that's not defined as negligence, but when we're talking about morality, I mean, just basic, morality, then that is negligence. And nobody said that legal was moral. Nobody's making that argument, because we already know that you can, if you're a man, you can go marry another man, or if you're a woman and want to kill your baby, you can do that. None of these things are moral, but they are legal. Okay. So that's the other thing that we need to keep in mind with regard to our government and Big Brother and how they take such great care of us as patients and all this stuff. So with that said, I don't want to come across bitter or anything else, although these are things that I'm going to have to process, emotionally. But I wanted you to see that they continued to shift the blame on me, and I wasn't doing enough to make sure that they were doing their jobs over there. I need to get more involved. I'm there every day, and when I spend the night, I can't even spend the night there anymore because they don't want me to, because I see my mom falling out of bed, and it makes them look bad. So how else do you get them to take care of patients? How else do you get them to do their job? Okay. Now I realize, I think that woman, I could tell that she was trying to help. So, say a prayer for her. It can't be, working for the government, working for Big Brother cannot be a very rewarding job when these are the tools, when these are the types of tools that you have and the excuses that they make, where they continually say that it's the patient's fault, it's my fault as her son and all. I'm not doing enough to make sure my mom is being properly taken care of, even though I can't be there all day long or all night long. I'm not the director of the facility. Maybe I should be. I don't have a college degree, but I don't know that you need one in order to see that when a patient falls out of bed, it's unacceptable one time, and it's definitely unacceptable two times. Okay, by that time, it's inexcusable. It's inexcusable. So pray for my mom. Pray for me. I have a lot of hope because God is God. God is on the throne. He allows us to go through things like this, and families to go through things like this, when he knows that his children can bring solutions and reconcile situations and help advocate for people that are not being taken care of. So this is why this is where the body of Christ comes in again. Okay, because I'm not the body of Christ. I'm one member. I'm not the entire body. So if anybody else would like to get involved, uh, again, this I'm now going to her Rose Walk facility, and I will spend numerous hours and advocating for my mom in meetings with people. I have a meeting at noon. Okay, but at the same time, my rent is overdue. My rent was due on the 15th. It's $650. I'm behind on rent. Okay, my light bill will become due. My gas bill will become due. I have broken my arm. You see this? This is where they did the surgery. Okay, I can barely move my arm. I can hardly move my wrist. Now, I'm not trying to beg or because I don't do that. I'm telling you what the needs are. Okay, I'm telling you what the needs are, and I'm telling you that I'm out there on it, and I've been doing this for a long time. I've been helping my mom. I've been taking care of her. I've been advocating for her, but now her SSI is gone. So there's nothing that is going to pay the bills here. And if I'm locked up in meetings all day, guys, and then plus I'm going to visit my mom. I've already cooked her sauerkraut and everything else. Okay, because she's at the last stages of her life, and very few people come and see her. So imagine if that were you. Would you want to just rot away and fall out of your bed, in the nursing home, especially after 35 years of providing excellent care to your patients? No, I don't think you would want that. So anyway, I'm hopeful. I'm very hopeful. But again, I do have my own needs, and I had one person say, "Well, God will supply." Well, yeah, He always does. And let me tell you how that works. When you need a job, when you need to go and work and make money, okay, you get a boss. You get a boss, and then you go and you work and you do whatever work you have to do for your company, and that's how God supplies. Okay? When you can't work and you're disabled, the food stamp office says that I'm disabled, and they require people to work 20 hours a week to get food stamps. They don't require me to get to work at all because I'm disabled. I'm in physical therapy, and I was not even able to make my physical therapy yesterday for lack of funds. I don't have gas money, and I don't have the money to park. So I know, guys, that you might think I'm accursed and just God hates me and God hates the poor, but I'm going to tell you, there are more people like me than what you think. And if you don't help me out, that's fine. If God doesn't put anything on your heart, that's fine. But I'll tell you what, you need to find somebody besides your rich pastors or whoever you're giving your money to. All right, as gifts. I mean, because we give it. You don't have to tithe. All right, you don't. That's not a New Testament requirement. Okay. Now, taking care of your pastor, as long as your pastor is preaching the gospel, as long as your pastor is, helping the people in his congregation and not living high on the hog, not taking their money and buying motorcycles and everything else. Yeah, okay, take care of your pastor and his family, because he's ministering to your souls. I don't want to go on and on about this, but I just want to tell you that there are more people out there like me than what you realize. And it's about time to stop giving your money to people like Joel Osteen, who has a $10.5 million home. He doesn't preach the gospel, and he drives a Ferrari. So, all right, guys, with that said, I'll leave you on a good note here. I'm going to go get some grape nuts. I do have food stamps, so I'm grateful for that. And I'm very grateful that, if you've taken the time to listen to this, I'm not trying to guilt trip anybody into, helping me out or helping mom out. I mean, one of the major things that we all need to do for one another is pray for each other. Okay. Pray that God will lay this on somebody's heart, lay my situation on somebody's heart. And if you know somebody locally that is experiencing something like this, pray that God will move hearts to help them. When sometimes, anyway, I don't want to get into it about ministries and how that works, and I don't want to get into that. Okay. But pray for pastors that they will begin to realize that the government can't take care of the widows and the orphans and the disabled that are Christians. I'm not talking about people outside of church in the body of Christ. Okay, so all I'm saying is I don't want to ramble and go on and on, but I have a lot of hope today. God bless you all. From Indy. All right. Have a good day. God bless. Bye now.